Hello and welcome to the Big Money Stylist Podcast. I was just telling Mary here about my 11-year-old daughter who she's been begging me to be a model for MBR, and I'm like, you're 11. You can't be a model for MBR. And my 15-year-old, we started using her for a model, and now she thinks she gets her hair done. She thinks she gets to be a model like every time.
Like every model.
Like every model. And she wants to change her color like every 4 weeks, which I'm like, honestly, I would prefer she was a model because then I'm not stuck doing her hair. You know what I mean? She's cute and she has good hair. So anyways, but yeah, welcome to the Big Money Stylist Podcast. I'm Danielle. I'm the creator of Natural Beauty Row Hair Extensions, and I've been doing this podcast for probably 3 years. And I pretty much just flag down anybody on my staff, and I'm like, we're doing a podcast right now. So this is Mary, and she is actually one of the assistants at my salon. And before we came in here, I said, Mary, are you nervous? And she said, yes. And I said, great, let's do it and do it scared. That is my motto in life. And it's funny because people think I'm like very extroverted. I'm extremely introverted. And I have just learned how to turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off. You know what I mean? So now I feel like I have double personalities. But actually funny story, when I hired you, I'm going to be really honest. Are you ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready. Kind of stressed.
You should be, I hired you, and then you would never talk. Like, I'd be at the salon. I can tell you this now because I really like you. I literally text Crystal and I go, Mary's not going to make it. I don't think she likes me. She's not very warm and friendly. She's not even a nice person. I was like convinced you were. I was like, I don't think she's the person for the front desk because you were working the front desk. Didn't we hire you receptionist first?
Yeah.
And I was like, I need somebody a little more friendly and bubbly. She's like, no, just wait. And then when I saw you at the Christmas party a few shots down, I was like, Mary's my girl. I was like, yes. Mary knows how to have a good time. So then I just realized it was like most people, when they first start out, they might be a little bit intimidated by me, but
a little bit.
But I'm actually very friendly and kind of quiet. So when people are uncomfortable or just quiet around me, I'm like, why don't they like me? And then I realize it's just because I kind of come across intimidating, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So Mary, I brought you on the show today, and one of the things I wanted to talk about is first off, kind of tell us your journey, because I know we were talking about kind of how I got into hair, and then I was like, Mary, how did you start doing hair? And you actually went to college for a little bit. Didn't you graduate from college?
Yeah.
So tell me your story, just in a nutshell. You went to college. What did you want to do? Why did you go to college? And then what led you to do hair?
Well, I mean, I've always kind of wanted to do hair my whole life. I did cheer, and I always did the girls' hair, and I always felt like it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, I went to college. I really just went because, quite honestly, I wanted to cheer in college. So
Nice.
It really wasn't even. I mean, obviously, I got
you
a
had to
great
get
education.
I was gonna say you have to have grades to go to college and do all that.
So I wanted to do the whole thing. I really loved meeting and event planning. So I went for that at UNLV, and I cheered, did the whole thing. I graduated, and it was a funny thing. I was doing great, had a job. Back to COVID, that kind of hit, and my boyfriend, his family's here, so we moved here because he essentially was helping take over his dad's business. So I was like, okay, this might be the best opportunity that I have to finally do hair, because out here they didn't really have what I was doing in Vegas, because Vegas is kind of casino based, and what I was doing, I was in a casino, and I was like, I don't feel like anything will really fulfill what I was doing before. And I was like, I have the opportunity now, I'm supported, I can go to school again, and I'm gonna do it. And I literally made the decision during the mix of COVID. So I started online, which was very interesting to do.
I didn't know you could go to hair school during COVID. Could?
Yeah, so they had it online based. So we went in, the first time I went in was maybe 6 months into my.
And you went to Paul Mitchell, right?
Yeah, Paul Mitchell.
Okay, so they were offering it at the time online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so finally we were able to go in the building, and it was great. And I don't know, ever since I started it too, I was just so interested, and I was really happy that I made the decision. And then a little bit through school is when I decided to apply at DKW, and I knew I was going to have to start from the bottom, because I didn't even know if I could get hired what I could get hired as because I was still in school. So
Mhm.
I was like, I'll be the front desk, like whatever you guys need. It was actually so funny. I actually slid into Jackie's DMs on accident. Like I was supposed to DM my other friend Jackie, and it was her.
Oh, that's funny. Were
Yeah.
you following Jackie?
I was,
Oh,
because I
okay.
was like already following a couple of the girls from the salon.
Yeah.
And I had wanted to get my hair done, and it was just never a thing. And then I slid in.
How did you find my brand?
I think I looked up extensions.
Oh, nice.
It might have been something with extensions because I wanted to get extensions again.
Did you Google it?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Probably Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, how'd you find me?
You're like, how?
Um,
But no, yeah, Jackie's like, oh yeah, we're actually hiring front desk. And I was like, oh my God, like, okay, who do I ask?
that's
Like, who do
funny.
I send
so
it to?
you accidentally got hired.
Yeah, it was literally so accidental. And like, well, she had first said, she was like, well, we're actually not hiring right now, but I'll let you know. And she remembered me. It was like a month later. And so it kind of all fell into place. And here I am now, like a year and a half later. And
But the crazy thing is, so you graduated college, right?
Mhm.
And what was your degree? Like in event
so
planning?
I would graduated hospitality, meeting, and event planning. So basically, what I did was I could have done anything from events to
Did you do that in Vegas?
casino
Did you do
host.
events?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I actually wasn't doing events. They kind of like it's like a broad degree, but like I was a casino host,
Okay.
which is like you can't do that here.
You
Clearly,
can.
but
There's no casinos.
there's no casinos. Well, one really far, but yeah. So I did that, and it's kind of also what I loved about how I found here is that you guys kind of almost fall into like what I went to school for as well, like
Because we do
of the
events.
academy and
Yeah.
events, and I was just like, this is like the best of both worlds. So.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I actually, I don't know if you know my story. I didn't want to do hair. It never even crossed my radar. I was not that girl that was doing, braids and ponytails when I was little and always dreamed of being a hairdresser.
Yeah.
I went to college because my mom and dad were like, you are a lifeguard and that's not going to work out for life. And I remember being like, no, I'm good. I'll just live at home. And my parents were like, no, we think you should. We'll help support you if you want to go to college. And I was like, okay, if you want to pay for it, then that's fine. I feel like I'm getting kicked out, but whatever. So I move away and I went to a college in Utah called UVU, and literally I was taking like the stupidest courses ever because I registered late and I was taking like ceramics and math 101 and like I had to take like prerequisites before I could even take like real college classes. I didn't even want to go to college. My parents were just like, well, you have nothing else going, so why don't you do that? And I'm like, okay. So long story short, I made it through one semester and I was like, I'm like, I don't even know what I want to go into. This is a waste of my parents' money. This is a waste of my time. And I was like, I might as well get a skill to pay the bills. Like literally, like my mom was like, you have to get a job. Like we'll help support you, but you have to work while going to college. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was actually working at, have you ever heard of Great Harvest?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's this delicious bread store. I gained the freshman 25
Oh,
that
God.
year.
Those
But
are not
anyway,
fun.
so I ended up going to hair school because I felt like I didn't know what the direction in college, right?
Yeah.
And I had such a stigma of like, I don't want to be just a hairstylist.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a hairdresser. And in Utah, like where I'm from, like I swear every other girl gets her hair license.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about these Utah girls. We all get married young. We want lots of babies, but we want to do something fun. So we go to hair school, right? And I didn't want to be that girl. I was like, if I'm going to work, I want like a career. Like I want to run a real career.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I end up going to hair school and I immediately really like it. Like I was like, wow. I was like, I really enjoy working with my hands. I always felt pretty comfortable doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then out of necessity, I turned, this skill of doing hair into this massive brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, I don't know if you ever felt like in the beginning, like, did you always want to do hair? Was it like something that you were like, because I mean, you went and had a degree.
Yeah.
And then you were like, no, like, I want to do hair. Like, this is what I'm passionate about. Like, what held you back? Why did you even go to college?
Yeah. So I feel like there was a stigma around, especially like, I mean, our generation too. I felt like it was pressured to like go to college and like that was the thing to do. It wasn't like you don't go to college and get like, what you want to do, you go and then figure it out. So, and there was really no pressure like negatively from my parents. I always just put the pressure on myself like, oh, if I don't go to college, like going to be disappointed and this, and this. But like,
Because that was like the next step.
exactly. So, I mean, once I finally did go and I felt, somewhat fulfilled, but I always felt like there was something missing.
Mm.
So I was nervous. And like I said, yeah, like you feel like, oh, being a hairdresser is just like,
Wah, wah.
yeah, like,
I
oh,
guess
you
I'll
failed.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you failed.
And it's like, no, like all the hairdressers that I know, like, are just so successful. And I was just like, I'm going to make this decision for me. And my parents were so supportive as well. Like, they were never like, it was always in my own head and society. Like, society really just pushes negative things, especially with hairdressers. And I feel like now, though, it's gotten so much bigger than just hairdressing.
Well, it's funny because I was at this event recently and I kept saying, oh, my artist. And this girl goes, oh, that's so cute. You call them artists. I was like, kind of offended. I was a little taken back. I was like, yeah, we are artists. You know what I mean? I'm like, I guess we're hairstylists by trade, but we're we're an artist,
It is art.
It is art. And I feel like that kind of has helped elevate hairstylists to become more. But the funny thing is even if you call your artist, even if you call yourself an artist, you have to stop acting like a hairdresser. And do you know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds kind of bad, but I did a post the other day where it's like, we're only taught the art in cosmetology school. Truly, we are. But then we're expected to go out and be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and yet we are given zero foundation of how to do it. And I'm talking zero foundation. Like
100%.
Like zero. Like,
okay, have fun.
You're literally like, you're a side hustler. Like if you're still, writing on your paper books and taking credit cards on a receipt, you're a side hustler. You're not even a professional at that point. You are just a hairstylist. You didn't evolve to become much more, right?
Yeah.
And I always categorize myself, well, I just do hair. So I didn't even, in the beginning of my career, I didn't even give myself permission to charge a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And a lot of people still feel like they can't raise their prices. It's like...
It's like wild.
Yeah.
Like they're doing hair extensions, and that's why hairstylists are notorious for always giving discounts, because they're like they frame the client as the prize, and they're so hungry for a lead that they discount their prices, and then finally they get somebody who looks like they have money, and they're like, I'm going to charge you full price.
Yeah.
But that's not even a hairstylist thing. That's like a small business owner thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like people come to my house and where I live, and all of a sudden their prices are like skyrocketing. I'm like, oh, you're finally charging your prices, and everyone else is getting a discount. Well, then guess what? You're just overcharging me. That's not your actual pricing, right?
Exactly.
And hairstylists do the same thing. And so it's like one of the things why I created DKW Styling Academy is because even though I love hair, out of a necessity, I had to become much more. And I never genuinely felt like I thought of myself as a hairstylist. I know that sounds bad. Like, that was my trade, but I was like, I'm just doing it for now as like a hobby, right? I was like, I'm just doing it for now, like something to do. I had 2 babies. And then all of a sudden, when my husband and I lost everything, all of a sudden I was like, well, my craft is doing hair. And it wasn't until I, started to work on the business side of things that I realized, I'm like, I can charge whatever I want. Like, this is an amazing craft, and people will pay it. And not only that, they will fly into me. I'm like, this is mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because I always told myself, I'm a hairstylist, and you can only charge this. You can't charge in the thousands. Nobody will pay you. But that was a story I was telling myself, right?
Yep.
And I mean, we do classes all the time. I know you've helped with classes and events, and so we get to talk to thousands of artists. Right. And I feel like, in a way, I adopted you into my community at such a early time where you will thrive in this community and you'll never develop those old habits, patterns, and behaviors. Right.
Yeah, I will say it is great. Like, kind of starting where I started at the front desk and then like working my way up, because I was taught your guys' way, and but not learning those bad habits of, oh, I have to start at a low price and I have to do this, and this to get clients, or they're going to leave me. And because that's really hard to break.
Right.
So I don't know, I know we hear from a lot of artists that come into the academy and trainings and stuff, oh, I can do it $2 raise or whatever. I feel so bad because I'm like, you're so great. And you have all this talent. And the fact that you're taught to not raise your prices or think of yourself as less is crazy to me. So
yeah, but it really comes down to and this is again something I'm passionate about, is like setting your foundation up inside of your business, right? Knowing your numbers. So that's like one of the things small business owners, entrepreneurs, hairstylists, artists are taught. Is it's just like, hey, yeah, go buy all your product and then just set your prices whatever you think they should be. What's the going rate in your town?
yeah, like how do you know?
Like,
it's crazy.
And based off what your overhead is, right? So we're not taught simple things of like, how much how much is your overhead? Do you have an assistant? Where do you live? What is your rent? Like even little things like that. And then it's like, okay, do you use a booking system? Okay, like you should really determine your prices based off of like how much does it cost to be in business.
Yeah.
And I started ass backwards in the beginning. I literally was like, yeah, $100 sounds like a great price.
Perfect.
And then in my mind I was like, I made $5,000 this week, and the reality was I made $1,000. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, I made $1,000, and I'm spending. My problem is I'm spending in the beginning like I made $5,000. I'm like, oh yeah, I did 3 sets of extensions, and then at the end of the month I'm like, I have no money. Actually, I'm in debt. I'm actually in debt right now. Like, what the hell is going on, right?
Yeah.
And then you just kind of put your blinders on. You're like, well, it's okay. I'll just raise my prices $2, or I'll just keep, I need more clients. So then artists get in this funk of like, more is more.
Yeah.
And that's why in our industry, and it's still taught to this day, like you work Monday through Saturday, you work long hours, you triple and double book, because if you just keep compiling more people in, eventually you're going to find a way and make money.
Yep.
Right? It's just nuts.
No,
it's just nuts.
And then you get burnt out and you're like, why did I even start this in the first place? And you like lose the vision of why you're even doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's bonkers. So that's like one of the things I'm like, I feel like you stepped into a good path.
I feel like
because I'm like, then you can like see people and you're like, no, we're going about it the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
We're going about it the old way that hairdressers think and operate. And that's why we label ourselves as hairstylists, because we act like hairstylists. Like we always want to say, like, we always want to put it on the clients, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the client said I'm just a hairstylist. We created this culture based off our behavior and how we're acting in our own industry. So like I can feel for the artist. It's like, I'm more than an artist. I'm like, no, you must become more than the artist. You are a hairstylist by trade. You're an artist by trade. Now you need to become a professional businessman or woman. And that really starts with learning a whole nother aspect of your business. Marketing, sales, overhead. Like there's just like so many little things that I literally did backwards in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then now I feel like I have a phenomenal team where it's like everybody plays a role, and now we have a very productive business academy, and it's like moving forward.
Yeah.
But what would you tell a new artist who's getting into this industry and they don't have any old patterns and behavior? Like, what was your mindset going into this? Were you kind of like, I don't know where to start, like, here we go?
Well, like, also, I went to college, when I started at DKW, I was 27, so I was essentially taking a step backwards.
Right.
But for me, I was like, this is a step, like, I need to start here, because working from the bottom up shows your grind, shows your hustle, and it also, like you said, it teaches you the correct way of which you are trying to learn. So I just really was always optimistic and grateful for every single step of the way, like even starting from the front desk, because even in the front desk, you learn the whole book system. Like you need to have, like, to be a well-rounded artist, you need to know, like you said, everything from business to hair. Yeah, you may be a great artist, but like, can you control your books? No. Do you know how to run your front desk? No. Like you have to know how to do all the ins and outs. And I think that really, like, if you feel like during school, I felt great. Everyone was always like, oh my gosh, you're already working in a salon? I'm like, yeah, I'm working in front desk, but I learned so much, even just watching the girls. So I always told them, I was like, get into a salon as soon as you can, even if it is working in front desk, because you won't regret it. And you'll feel so much further ahead, because, yeah, school is great and they teach you some good little tips and tricks, but I will say I've learned the most out of working in a salon during going to school.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I was going to say you learn like all the little things. It's so interesting too, because I don't do the front desk, but at some point I was doing all of that. You know what I mean? And then it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, now that I know how to do it, I can delegate or hire it out, right? And then even like bringing somebody on like Crystal, who's our salon manager, now she takes kind of the foundation and she improves it, right? She finds like, okay, her niche is like, I'm not that organized, to be honest with you. I might come across like super organized. Like I'm that person that comes across like very, I come across like I'm super clean and organized. Like if you came to my house and you opened any drawer, you'd be like, ah! You just shut
Everyone
it.
has those drawers.
But I'm actually extremely messy. Like I'm very messy. So then I bring on somebody in my team who helps kind of structure and organize it. And all of a sudden, all these pieces start to fall in place, right? And so I think it's important, like for artists, it's like at some level, you have to kind of like, you have to figure out how to do it all. And if it's not kind of your unique ability, like I could do it, but I hate doing the books. I hate doing product retail. Like I hate doing all that. Like it drives me crazy. So if you kind of start doing it, but then you bring somebody on in your team to help you out, then that's fine. But like, you kind of in the beginning, you have to kind of figure out everything. And even down to marketing. Like I actually talked to so many people recently. Like I was talking to my trainer and she's like, I had this guy, he said he was a great marketer, he came in, did all my social media, and it was garbage. And I go, because he's not you and he doesn't know your brand and he doesn't know your voice. I'm like, so it's fine to hire somebody, but you're gonna have to work with them. Like what do you want your marketing to say? Like don't just hire somebody and expect that they're just gonna know how to figure it out. Same with how my salon is run. Like it's like Crystal's the manager, but we kind of co-run it together, right? And so I think it's important, like as you further your career, that you bring on really good, I was gonna say teammates, but like even down to like assistants, right? Like when we did our last VE event, it was like a smaller group, and I'm like, hey, how many of you guys work with an assistant currently? Because I got to know like what level I'm teaching them at. Only 2 people in the whole group had an assistant.
Wow.
Can you imagine like doing hair without an assistant now that you've worked at my salon? No. I'm like, you don't tandem foil? They're like, what's tandem foiling? I'm like, wait. I'm like, you have an assistant? You don't tandem foil? No, they just hand me foils. I'm like, oh my God.
No.
Why you're wasting your money? Why is that speeding up the process? I'm like, no, you need to train them to foil with you. Then if you expect to put them on the floor, they know how to foil with you, right?
And they also know how to foil when they have someone coming along to help them. And also that is also more tips and tricks that they get to learn during the assisting process as well.
I remember the first time you assisted me and I was like, do you know how to foil, Mary? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know if she does.
I was like, I'm going to learn today.
And I was like, okay, but there's no way. I've worked with so many assistants over the years that I say there's no such thing as a bad assistant, just a bad trainer, like truly. And I mean, you could not vibe with somebody and then you're like, okay, like we're just not vibing. Like you need to go. Like I've had a few assistants that would just say super weird, awkward things in front of clients. And I'm like, that's just awkward. You can't do that.
You can't say that.
And you can't say that. And I have let go a few assistants that I was like, they were actually really good artists, but they were just kind of client inappropriate, I guess you could say, where it ruined the experience. I was like, you got to go. But I think it's like important, like to, even with your assistants, to kind of work together and work effectively. Are you you're totally done with school? You're kind of one of our main assistants. When are you done with the assistant program?
Well, hopefully soon. I'm going through, hopefully by the end of this year. That is on like my radar. I'm almost through the academy too with MBR, so I'm really just trucking.
You know that we have 2 artists that are going to have babies soon, right?
I know.
Okay.
So
no pressure.
The pressure really needs to be done by January.
you know that I retired from taking on new clients.
Yes,
so
I know.
Mary, you're up. You're ready. Well, I love having new voices on the podcast. I love hearing people's stories, how they started, like why they are passionate about doing hair. So if I were to kind of just give you guys some final thoughts, if you're listening to this, ask yourself, are you acting like the artist? Must you become more? The answer is yes, obviously. But like, where are you at? Like, where are you at in your business? And what needs to change in order for you to have that success that you're looking for, to not burn out, to not be running on the hamster wheel, doing things that, quite honestly, you're just hiding your head in the art, and you're not really paying attention to, your numbers and things like that. What's something that you could do this week to change, to elevate our industry to be more than just the artist, to be more than just the hairstylist. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's show them. So that's something I genuinely stand behind. Again, it's why I'm so passionate about the academy that I've created, but it's not even I've created now. It's like we as a team have all created it based off of what I see is missing in our industry. And it truly is mindset, business, marketing, sales, and salon foundation, how to set up your business correctly. So if you, Mary, I want your final thoughts. What, besides you were nervous as shit on this podcast, but you did it and your story was great.
We did it. I just say go for it. Like, you know, do it scared is like Danielle's motto, and we all kind of live by that, because I really did start my whole career over. And like I said, I'm 28 now, and I just feel like I haven't really wasted any time. Like, I feel like me going into it even late in my life, like I still feel like I can be successful. So you can start anytime.
Do it and do it scared. It's crazy. I'll share this really quick. My daughter, who's 15, she has been like in and out of boarding schools and like just had like a really like rough go the last couple years. Like, and she's very artistic. She's really into music. She's a lot like me in a lot of ways. And she didn't want to go to high school, and I kept fighting her. Finally, I was like, I don't really believe in traditional high school. Like, I don't. Like, I don't believe in, not traditional, like the traditional sense of learning, right? And we're all taught that, like, we have ADD, we have ADHD, we have this. And I'm like, no, because the schools were created to conform to what probably more than half the students aren't, right? Yeah. So we're conforming to basically childcare and babysitting for our kids because parents need to work. It's not an effective way of learning. So long story short, I was so frustrated with her. She was like super depressed. And I was like, hey, do you want to do hair? And because she was like, oh, I don't want to be a hairstylist. Yeah. And I was like, that's so sad. I was like, I am a hairstylist, Bailey, but do you not see where we live and what I've created? I was like, obviously, like, hair's doing some good shit, you know? And I'm like, finally it clicked, and I was like, it's fun. You might like it. I'm like, you might like it. So anyways, I felt like I was kind of like talking her into it. And I ended up pulling her out of high school. I ended up hiring her at my salon, and I have her doing homeschool to study to get her GED. I literally was like, I told her, I go, Bailey, do you know right now you're 15, you can get your GED at 16. You can go to Paul Metro or wherever you want to go. You can be done with hair school in like probably like 8 months, right? Yeah. Like, I'm like, you can, and then you can go through my assistant program, and you can be working at my salon, like, as an artist by the time you're probably, like, 17. Yeah. Making 6 figures a year guaranteed. Yeah. And she was like, I want to do hair.
She's like, I'm in.
I was like, great. I was like, money talks, right? But it's so interesting because I was like, she doesn't know what she wants to do, you know? I'm like, let me just like kind of mold her. At least she has a skill and a foundation to see if what she wants to do with this. I'm super proud of her because I was at this point where I was like kind of getting ready to give up as a mom. And then I was like, Danielle, you don't fucking give up on your kids. Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, I just got to find my window where I can get her, you know, moving and going. And now she's working out every day. She's working. She literally is like, I love Mary. Mary's so great.
Yeah,
like,
she's killing it. She's doing
so
great.
She's doing good. You're her new mentor, so no pressure there.
The two little redheads.
Yeah.
Until she changes her hair color again.
Yeah, she wants to go brown now, but that's another story. So you guys, if you are interested in my education, I have a 12-month academy program that teaches natural beauty row hair extensions. We have a hairline that goes with it called Isla. It's a phenomenal product that's like, I could do a whole podcast on just talking about hair and hair quality and how much I love my hairline. Not that I'm biased, but I am. And then we have, right now we just have the academy. We have open enrollment available. We are getting ready to launch an online course. We did virtual events all year that was kind of like, if you're like, I don't know if I want to commit to a year, it was a 2-day class that was taught virtually where we did pre-training. You had to turn in assignments. So we're definitely not like a come YouTube kind of thing, find out how to do extensions. We're not like a one-day demo. I take education very seriously. So if you guys want more information about my programs, go to mbr.education. And of course, if you found any value in this podcast, which hopefully you did, because we love doing this and we love what we do, go ahead and share it with your friends. We usually repost this, we post this podcast every Tuesday. So tune in every Tuesday for a good time with Mary. I'm going to make Mary take a shot of tequila next time before the show.
Thank you.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, there you are, Mary! All right, bye, guys.
Bye.